Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Welcome in, friends, to another edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It was a glorious weekend in the sports world, especially here in the city of Chicago. But before we get into this Monday, September 14th, 2020 edition of Sports from the Couch, let's go ahead and take care of some housekeeping notes. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can be interactive with the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves, Apple, iTunes. You can get us on Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, and anywhere else you get your favorite podcasts. Become a producer of the network at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. There you can get our interviews ad-free and before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag. Check out some of our awesome stuff over at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. We're getting to holiday season, guys. There's some awesome gift ideas over at the shop. That's teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Oh, was it a wonderful Sunday? Let's get to it, friends. All hail the king. The NFL is back, and what a way to come back to our hearts and our televisions, especially here in the city of Chicago. We will run down some of the games in just a little bit, but we have to start with the monsters of the Midway. This is how an amazing Sunday started in the city of Chicago.
They don't. And there's the rollout and the pass, and it's caught for the touchdown. But they're not going to save much time running. Stafford looking, throwing, and the pass is going to be intercepted. The Bears get it back, and it's Kyle Fuller with a huge pickoff for Chicago in Lion territory. Penalties too, that's all part of it. First down. And there's the long pass to Miller, and Miller is there, and it's a touchdown. Anthony Miller, who has made two brilliant catches today, does it again, and the Bears take the lead. 27-yard pass. Field goal won't get it done. 11 seconds to go. Stafford downfield, and his pass is dropped by Swift. He was in the end zone. The rookie linebacker, or the rookie running back, DeAndre Swift. 6 seconds to go in the game. Stafford again going into the end zone. Tipped, incomplete. Game is over, and the Chicago Bears stage a dramatic fourth quarter turnaround.
Those highlights courtesy of the NFL and the NFL on Fox. What a roller coaster of a game it really was between the Lions and the Bears. And other than the ending that was that fourth quarter from Mitch, it was a horrible offensive game for the Chicago Bears. They weren't converting on third down. Some of the ending numbers: 20 for 36 for Mitch Trubisky, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery touched the ball 13 times with 64 yards. Tariq Cohen 7 times, 41 yards. You had Anthony Miller with 4 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Jimmy Graham got in the end zone. Allen Robinson went 5 for 74. So I guess this is where we want to get to this story, right? Is the Bears, Mitch Trubisky, saved himself a week of just dread and turmoil of what would have been had they lost that game. And the defense made a play when they had to. I mean, the narrative, could you imagine, had they gone out there and lost that game 3-23, 10-23? Like, that was a big boy throw that Mitch made with Anthony Miller to give them the lead. And they gave you the game, though. DeAndre Swift literally had the ball in his hand, and it drops in the end zone. So it wasn't as if they didn't get a little lucky. This is also something that you have to maybe put a pin on and kind of think of an Achilles heel of this team. This defense didn't make a stop when they needed to at the end of the game, the very end of the game. Now, they put you in a position, and they kept you in it. So you can't bury this defense. But once again, just nitpicking a win, right? A win is a win is a win is a win. It doesn't matter. But if we're just jabbering here on the couch talking about these things, let's be real about it. They had a chance and this got a lot closer when the Bears should have put this away. That touchdown by Mitch Trubisky to Anthony Miller should have been it. There shouldn't have been so much more drama than there was. And the Lions still, any other competent team probably beats the Bears. More often than not, right? So it's hard for me to not be a little cynical towards this win, but also understand that in the NFL, you win any game you can. And again, Mitch Trubisky shows that he balls out against the Lions. And with everything that's going on with COVID-19 and how these teams are managing it, you got to give them some type of credit that, yeah, they were really slow in the beginning, but they put it together. And a lot of teams didn't look all that great offensively to start. There were a lot of hiccups. A lot of guys weren't syncing together. They weren't on the same level. And here's the big question that I have coming out of this game. What did we learn about the Bears? You see, because if you look around the league, some things were confirmed for you, right? Even with no preseason, even with everything that's going on, we all kind of figured out some truths already about the season. So my question is, what did you learn from the Bears? Are they a team that isn't going to give up? Are they a team that's still going to be offensively inept? How bad did Nick Foles look in training camp if the Mitch that played those first 3 quarters beat him out for the starting quarterback job? This was a team that only put up 6 points before that fourth quarter. And then out of nowhere, they opened up the floodgates. And we're given a little bit of a lucky break. Not even a little bit. We're giving the most luckiest of breaks. They were giving the win at the very end. I did like some things. I did like how Tariq Cohen looked at certain moments of it. I did like how Cordell Patterson looked, how they used him. But again, I can't put too much stock when it's the Lions. I know a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for them. But, I mean, it's still Detroit. And, like, shout out to all the Detroit Lions fans. You guys deserve better. But I don't know what to make of it. Now, next week, the Bears end up going on and they're going to play the New York Giants. So I could assume in their home opener that they're going to be better than New York, but we haven't seen New York play yet. Early on in this week, and the Bears got out of that game pretty healthy. I think the Bears are the favorites going into next Sunday's matchup against the Giants. But what did we learn from Chicago? I'm not sure. But what I do know is in the NFL and this type of season, you take the wins when you can. You'll take a nice comeback from behind win from this Bears team. If for no other reason you should have some excitement from this game, is simply Mitch made a professional football throw. And I know it sucks having to make these prefaces because we just see real professional quarterbacks all over the league. And on Thursday, it was all over our face. But I'm telling you, that was a big boy throw. Can he do that consistently? I don't know. But if he does, good things are going to happen for this team. If he doesn't, it's going to be a lot of games like this. And when you're playing against real professional teams, like let's say the Packers, who put up how many points on the Vikings, that's where we're going to really find out about this Bears team. And I don't think that test is going to be against the Giants. But this is the National Football League, and you take the W's when you can. And the Bears come back to beat the Detroit Lions 27-23 to open up the NFL season here in Chicago. And with that, why don't we take a look at the rest of Week 1 in the NFL? We start off with the Bills beating the Jets 27-17. The Packers all over the Vikings 43-34. I kept telling people Aaron Rodgers is out in a mission right now, trying to probably prove the Packers wrong, that they might have gone a little too early with the next quarterback of the future, but that'll be to be continued. The Washington football team beating the Eagles 27-17. I told you guys in my predictions in the beginning of the season, I don't think Philadelphia is all that good, especially a few years after the Super Bowl year. But again, only Week 1, Washington coming out, and shout out to Ron Rivera, one of my favorites in the NFL, who's battling cancer right now, getting his first win as the Washington head coach. The Ravens beat the Browns 38-6. You know, it sucks everything that's going on with Odell Beckham and his private life coming out into the public, but it's the one thing the Browns have really allowed themselves to just have all this bad and this hate towards them. They asked for it, you know. I'm not one that likes to jeer on from the couch, but you know, you could just tell the way Baker was and just the way this team kind of walked into the scene, and then they were being crowned already. To shout out to Dennis Green. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a rough ride for the Browns, I think, and the Ravens didn't make it easy on them. The Jaguars beat the Colts 27-7, spoiling the debut of Phillip Rivers for Indianapolis. The Raiders beat the Panthers 34-30. The Bears beat the Lions 27-23, like we gushed over just a little bit ago. The Seahawks all over the Falcons 38-25 in Atlanta. Russell Wilson, I do think, will win the MVP, and he sure as hell made a nice statement in week 1 for that. Speaking of statements, Cam Newton and his New England Patriots beat the Dolphins 21-11. Bill Belichick smiling from ear to ear, or as much as Bill Belichick will smile, because I think he got himself one. And I'll never understand why people were just doubting this man. You know, as if players don't come back from injury every single time. As if some guys are just freaks of nature. As if he's not a specimen. It amazes me that people were doubting him. And I'm not saying that this guy is going to go out and throw 40 touchdowns and be the MVP and all that. But the fact that people think he wasn't one of the top 20 quarterbacks in the league already, before we even got to see the week 1, let alone what he might end up doing, is crazy. And it just goes to show that we move on so fast with these storylines. But the Patriots all over the Dolphins 21-11. The Chargers beat the Bengals 16-13. Sorry, Joe Burrow, you get used to that ending where the Bengals miss a game-tying field goal after Joe Burrow did as much as he could to help the lonely Bengals. But the Chargers come up with a win. The Cardinals, my upset of the week, comes to fruition as they beat the San Francisco 49ers 24-20. I'm telling you, Kyler Murray has some weapons, and he's a hell of a quarterback. And the Texans decided that they don't think DeAndre Hopkins was a number 1, so they go ahead and trade him, and lo and behold, he ends up being a nice weapon for Arizona. If in nothing else, he helps the other receivers on that team. He helps the other running backs on that team. He helps the entire offense on that team, including a young quarterback. I'll never understand what Houston and what Bill O'Brien were thinking, but the Cardinals are going to be a dangerous team in the NFC South. And what was America's game of the week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees' New Orleans Saints beat Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-23. And the real question out of this game, and I said the Saints are going to the Super Bowl representing the NFC, so I'm not surprised that the Saints look great. I picked them to win this game. I put a lot of confidence points on them because they were the team that has, chemistry, and their guys have been on the same page for years. But also, did Tom Brady throw the ball down the field? Think about the weapons that he has. Probably weapons that most quarterbacks in the NFL don't have, that do a lot with less. You know what I'm saying? And now, Tom didn't show up. Throws 2 interceptions. One goes back to the house. I think if you're Tampa Bay, it's not time to sound the alarms, and it's not DEFCON 9, but it's not great. If you can't get the ball down the field, you're not winning in this league. Bringing it back to Chicago, that's been the biggest thing about Mitch. It's you can dink and dive all you want. If you can't move the ball down the field, it doesn't matter in this league. And I don't care how many Super Bowls you have. I don't care how great your legacy is. I don't care how big the aura is that you have. If you can ball and ball in the way where these 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds don't care about your legacy, and they're like, yeah, throw ducks out there. We'll make sure we take care of them for you, Tom. Thanks for throwing that to us. It's going to be tough. And when you're playing a team like New Orleans, there's not much room for error. And it goes to show that's why they end up winning 34-23. And on Sunday Night Football, opening up their brand new stadium, a beautiful stadium, by the way, the LA Rams beat the Dallas Cowboys 20-17. A fun matchup. This one is going to go back and forth simply on Dak Prescott and whether or not Dak Prescott is going to end up getting the contract that I think a lot of people think he deserves. He went 25-39, 266 yards and a touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott, who killed me in fantasy football, had 2 touchdowns with 22 carries, 96 yards for rushing, and 3 catches for 31 yards. So, of course, Zeke decides to ruin my week 1 in fantasy football. I guess this is where I come down for the Dallas Cowboys. What are the other options you're really looking at? Because you can't tank if you're Dallas. So you're not getting Trevor Lawrence, right? And there's not guys you're going to trade for in the league. Quarterbacks just don't grow on trees. They just don't leave their organizations. So why not sign Dak? So we'll see how they bounce back next week, the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll see how for real the LA Rams are. I thought they were going to take a step back, but a nice week 1 win for LA. And on Monday Night Football, you have the Steelers taking on the Giants and the Titans taking on the Broncos. We'll see how week 1 finishes off and leads us into week 2. And make sure you guys are following me on the network as we make our confidence picks every single week. We pick our winners and we tell you how confident we are on them, and then we place them in the system. And you guys can keep tabs and watch along all season long to see how we do in our predictions. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think about week 1 in the NFL season? What did you think about the Bears' huge comeback win? How did your favorite NFL team do? I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram Mike Mercado Media, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk.
Alec Mills out to work the bottom of the 9th inning. Jacob Nottingham is first up. Mills coming back 1-0, swinging a pop-up. Right side might be playable for Rizzo. He's got it, out number 1. Rizzo in foul territory ran right through the coach's box and grabbed that ball on the run. Mills 2 outs away from history.
Tyrone Taylor's first plate appearance. The 1-2 serve. He got him swinging. 2 down.
Mills now is 1 out away. Jace Peterson at the plate.
He is 1 out away. Up the middle. Baez has it. It's a no-hitter. The former college walk-on has made history in Milwaukee.
Alec Mills has just pitched a no-hitter. A no-hitter for Cubs right-hander Alec Mills. A ground ball to Baez, a routine play. The Cubs are mobbing the young right-hander on the mound, jumping up and down. What a great moment for Alec Mills as the Cubs win the ball game 12-0.
And the Sox sweep Detroit and will be in first place with second place Minnesota flying in tonight.
A big thank you to the Marquee Network and 670 The Score for those amazing Cubs highlights, and of course NBC Sports Chicago for those awesome Chicago White Sox. You guys heard it right, on the same Sunday that the Chicago Bears came back and beat the Detroit Lions with a Mitch Trubisky beautiful touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. The Chicago Cubs' Alec Mills throws a no-hitter, and then the Chicago White Sox finish off this Sunday afternoon in sole possession of first place of the American League Central. So, I mean, just to jump into the Cubs side really fast, Alec Mills, no-hitter, 5 strikeouts, about 108 pitches, beautifully defended game. And normally would be the story of the Cubs scoring 12 runs and the offense just blowing up. Really the fact that Alec Mills was the guy. With a staff that has Yu Darvish and John Lester and Kyle Hendricks, it's been this guy who's been low-key under the radar, has just done his job. When he's had bad outings, he's bounced back, and it looks like they found themselves a nice 4th man in that rotation. And without having Jose Quintana and without having Tyler Chatwood, to have Alec Mills solidify himself in that way is really great for him. You know, like they said in the highlights, like Len Casper said, from college walk-on to no-hitter in professional baseball. It's pretty damn cool. And it just so happens to be on a Sunday, and a beautiful Sunday at that, in one of the greatest sports in the world. And even though they were playing in Milwaukee, what really can now be Wrigley Field North legitimately in Miller Park, the second no-hitter in that stadium's history, and both of them done by the Chicago Cubs back when Carlos Zambrano was the first one to do it. And just shout out to Alec Mills, a wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon for that young man. And of course, same for the Chicago White Sox. Jose Abreu has an argument to be MVP of the season, leading the league in RBIs, and probably the best player on that team right now, which is the best offense in baseball right now. And if it wasn't for those stinky Dodgers, you would have the best record in baseball. This is a really good White Sox team. And it's a team that doesn't know any better yet. And if you mess around playing against this team, they will make you pay. and they're never out of it too. That's one of the big strong points for this team that I really enjoy watching when I'm watching the White Sox, is if you're a fan of theirs, the game is never over. As long as they have a pulse, as long as they have an out, as long as they have a chance to get that ball in the stands, they're going to have it, and they might do it. And that's the dangerous part of them. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. Just, there was a lot of good news. I don't think we should be nitpicking. Let's enjoy what was an amazing weekend for the White Sox, sweeping Detroit and taking sole possession of first place in the American League. Not just the AL Central, but the whole American League. And of course, the Cubs coming back, holding on to the National League Central Division League and having a no-hitter by the one and only Alec Mills. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. We'll start off in first place in the American League East. You have the Tampa Bay Rays at 30-17, and below them, the Blue Jays at 26-20, the Yankees at 26-21, the Orioles at 20-26, and the Red Sox at 17-31. In the AL West, you have the Athletics at 29-17, the Astros at 23-24, the Mariners at 21-25, the Angels at 20-28, and the Texas Rangers in the basements at 17-30. And in the AL Central, in first place with a game lead, it is your Chicago White Sox at 30-16, the Minnesota Twins at 30-18, Cleveland at 26-21, Detroit at 20-26, and the Royals at 20-28. Moving to the NL really fast, you have the Braves at 28-19 leading the NL East, with the Marlins at 23-21, the Phillies at 23-22, the Mets at 21-26, and the Nationals at 17-28. In the NL West, with the best record in baseball, the LA Dodgers at 33-14, the Padres at 31-17, the Giants at 23-24, the Rockies at 21-25, and the Diamondbacks in the basement as well at 17-31. It's going to be interesting to see how that Dodgers-Padres race ends up. I'm starting to really, really love that Padres team. There's a lot of fun guys to root on for, so the NL West is going to be fun. And finally, in the NL Central, with a 4-game lead, it is your Chicago Cubs at 28-20, the Cardinals at 20-20, the Brewers at 20-24, the Reds at 21-26, and in last place is the Pittsburgh Pirates at 14-30. And shout out to Roberto Clemente. We missed Clemente Day a few weeks back, but the reason why I wore 21 in all my sports throughout my lives. But wish the team was a little bit better, just maybe if they were still in the NL East. But that is your standings for Major League Baseball. I hope you guys really enjoyed your ball clubs this past weekend. What a wonderful Sunday, taking first place in the American League for the White Sox and having a no-hitter and getting another game in your division lead for the Chicago Cubs. Wonderful time in baseball for this city, for the city of Chicago, and what is shaping up to be a very fun playoff race in both the National League and the American League with the Cubs and White Sox. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think about the baseball games this weekend? How excited were you for your Chicago Cubs and Alec Mills no-hitter? How excited and ecstatic and hyped are you for the White Sox to be in first place and with that amazing record? And where should Jose Abreu be in the MVP race? Let me know on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. But that'll do it for us on this edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you stay with us throughout the week as we break down Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals of the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, and Game 7 of the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. The winner has a date with the LA Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. So we'll be breaking down both conference finals games and matchups the next time you join us here on Sports from the Couch. But until then, make sure you guys are following us all over social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can be interactive with the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves, Apple, iTunes. You can get us on Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, and anywhere else you get your favorite podcasts. Become a producer of the network at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. There, you can get our interviews ad-free and before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag. Check out some of our awesome stuff over at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. We're getting to holiday season, guys. There's some awesome gift ideas over at the shop. That's teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Please take care of yourself, take care of each other. We will see you next time here on Sports from the Couch, here on Mercado Airwaves. I've been your host, Mike Mercado.